Alright, what's up guys? In today's video, we're going to take a look at what is the best LMG to use right now in Warzone. We're going to take a look at the Stoner, the Bruen Mk9, and the PKM, which are the three best LMGs to use right now in Warzone. So if you guys could please leave a like and make sure you guys do subscribe to the channel if you guys are new and enjoy this kind of content. Like I said, the first things first, we're comparing all the guns. In order to get the comparison, you have to go through and take a look at the class setups for each. With the PKM, this is going to be the class setup on the screen. It's basically going to go for the best accuracy class setup while also getting some pretty good range. And then obviously with the Stoner, which is going to be the Cold War LMG, as you guys should know, the cavalry launcher is the only thing that affects bullet velocity, which is something you definitely need of Warzone, which obviously you're going to stack that with the agency suppressor. I personally use the Vision 2x zoom, because it's basically the VLK from Modern Warfare. It has the same distance as far as how much it zooms in as the VLK. We're using the Field 18 grip because this gun has a lot of vertical recoil. This is going to help with the horizontal, which is definitely going to help a lot. And then the fast mag has no effect on your ADS, as you guys can see the pros and cons. It simply makes your gun reload faster. Bruen Mk9, as you guys should know, 60 round mag, VLK, tac laser, long barrel, mono. This is the best class setup. The VLK obviously is going to significantly help improve your range and obviously your recoil. 60 round mag has a lot of positives in my opinion, which 100% improve this gun to make it compete in a class of its own against those other two guns in the mobility category. So as far as we're taking a look at first, we're going to take a look at the difference in the mobility because there are three different guns, and obviously with the Stoner, we're going to drop the stats for that. We're going to take a look at the recoil pattern, which I think is one of the most important, the time to kill up to what range, then the positives and negatives of each gun in comparison to the other two. So like I said, if you guys learn anything new, make sure you guys leave a like, and let's jump right into it. So what you guys can see on the screen right now is the time to kill and up to what range. This is kind of hard to break down for you guys. We'll keep it very simple. The Stoner 63 obviously has no attachments. With the cavalry and the agency suppressor, obviously get an increase in range. So the range here is about 45 meters. It does have an open bolt delay along with the PKM. So those two are going to jump up 67 milliseconds. So I'll showcase the time to kill of each gun on the screen and it's up to what range. So you guys will notice that Stoner has a significantly faster time to kill. Even if you don't add the open bolt delay, you guys will be able to notice here. It kills the fastest up to its base range of about 45 meters. The biggest factor is that Bruen Mk9, which holds around a similar damage at both ranges, which the time to kill is the same no matter what, which is a good thing and a bad thing, because it has a low time to kill in the base range of all the guns between 40 to 50 meters of all the ARs and LMGs, but above that 50 meters where all its guns drop off is where the Bruen absolutely shreds. So if you're looking for a long range capable weapon, the Bruen is going to be the gun for you. But if you're looking for a gun that shreds in the close range, trying to compete with those far AMAX and obviously the M4 users, the Stoner is going to be the gun for you. The biggest factor with all this, the PKM just kind of chills right there in the middle. The one biggest factor is the mobility category, which is where the PKM takes a huge tank. So personally, just based on time to kill alone, I rank the PKM as actually the lowest. The Bruen is going to be in the top two with the Stoner, and obviously the difference is close range versus long range. It's basically the biggest difference in time to kill. So based on time to kill stats alone, I think the Stoner and the Bruen are the top two LMGs. But once you go through and take a look at the mobility stats, you guys will find out the PKM actually gets smoked pretty hard. So the next most important thing to take a look at here is going to be the DPS, the damage per second. A second's obviously 1,000 milliseconds. This is where the Bruen completely tanks, because this is the one thing they did nerf with the gun. You guys can see even in the base range up to the obviously like 40 meters, it has an absolutely terrible DPS, about 10% worse than both of the other guns. The one biggest factor with that Stoner, like I said, is it does have that very high damage value, which does more damage per bullet than both the PKM and the Bruen, which is why it has the most damage. Even though it does drop off, that's the biggest factor. You guys will see the PKM does do more damage at the long range, which it does more damage per bullet than the other two, which is definitely what's going to help it. But that Stoner definitely has the fastest time to kill in the close range and is doing the most damage. For Warzone, like I said, with 250 health, I think damage is an extremely important stat, and that's why the AMAX and the FAR are so popular, because they do a lot of damage. This is where the Stoner, in my opinion, is going to take a high rank right now as the #1 LMG. So we're taking a look at next is the recoil pattern to determine which one actually has the most accuracy, because these are guns you're going to be using in the long range. You want to need that accuracy out of that gun to hopefully be able to kill people easier. So let's take a look at that. So basically on the screen, I'm just going to leave the little video clip and the screenshot for you guys while I talk over it. You guys can basically see the Bruen is 100% the worst. It has an upward pattern and pulls hard to the left. It's obviously going to be pretty stable, pretty low in vertical, but pulling hard to the left versus the other two guns just go straight up is definitely going to make it worse in accuracy, which is definitely something you're going to have to counter for if you're trying to get those kills to the long range, which is where the gun kills fast. That's a huge negative for the Bruen, in my opinion. The PKM definitely has the best recoil pattern. It has the least amount of vertical recoil, and obviously vertical recoil is like half of that of the Stoner. But when you take a look at what is the best overall accuracy, the Stoner is purely vertical, which is the easiest to control. All you have to do is pull down on your mouse or thumbstick, obviously. And it, in my opinion, has a little bit more stable recoil, which that side-to-side variance to horizontal, the stabilization is better. So I personally think the Stoner has the best accuracy. When you factor in that bullet velocity, which the Stoner has the best bullet velocity, the PKM has the lowest, that's going to help your overall accuracy, which is where, in my opinion, we're going to rank the Stoner as the best accurate weapon. So right now it has the fastest time to kill, and it has the best accuracy. So that's definitely two really good factors going for the Stoner right now. So what I want to take a look at next is the positives and the negatives of each weapon to kind of show you guys what's good about each gun in comparison to the others before we go in depth on mobility stats. So right now on the screen, you guys will obviously be able to see the Stoner class setup. The biggest factor about this gun and what makes it good in comparison to the rest, number one, it has the best bullet velocity. It has the highest damage value, which is one of the reasons the AMAX is so popular. So the damage is very high. The bullet velocity, which is going to help you at the longer ranges and increase your accuracy, is the best. And the time to kill under that 50 meters is the best. And it has, in my opinion, one of the best recoil patterns, which is the easiest to control, which is definitely an excellent positive for the Stoner. So a lot of the things that factor into making a gun really good in Warzone, the Stoner has. The only real negative I could find is the gun does have a lot of vertical recoil. So if you're not the best in the accuracy category, you're not the best at controlling your recoil, it definitely has a lot of vertical recoil, which is a huge negative. But vertical recoil is the easiest to counter, the easiest to control. So it's kind of basically a no negative class setup. Obviously, the other big negative is it doesn't really get an increase in the overall range, which is going to help extend that time to kill out, which a lot of the other guns do have, which is a huge negative about the class, in my opinion. So the next class setup, obviously the Bruen Mk9. As you guys know, this is the same class we've been using the entire time. The one best thing about this class setup as an LMG is almost like a hybrid AR. It has an excellent reload time. Your movement speed is significantly faster than the other two weapons. Your stray speed's faster, and it does not have an open bolt delay, which is going to help that lower that time to kill. Then, as I said, that time to kill beyond 50 meters is extremely fast and definitely a lot faster than the other two guns when you factor in that open bolt delay. So that's what's best about it. The big negatives, though, is that close range. It does have the slowest time to kill, which is a huge negative, and the accuracy is, in my opinion, pretty hard to control. If you're able to hit, your first 20 to 30 shots, it's not going to be as bad. But if you're firing a full mag trying to down a car or something, the recoil is probably going to get out of your hands, which is probably the only real negative is the overall accuracy of the weapon. It's extremely godly in the mobility category compared to the other two guns, which is the huge positive for the class setup. The next gun is obviously the PKM. There's only real 2 or 3 things it has going for it. Is your ADS is the fastest, so the ability to aim down sight and track those players faster is going to be the best. It comes with a 100 round mag, which the class up for the other two is 75 and 60. So per mag, you're going to do more damage. And the recoil is extremely easy and pretty predictable. So it's definitely an excellent overall accuracy weapon, which is going to allow you to hit your shots best at range. The one extremely big negative is obviously the counter to having the most ammo is you have an extremely terrible reload time, like extremely slow. You could reload 4 times with the Bruen before you reload with the 1 time with the PKM, which is a huge negative, and your movement speed and your stray speed is as absolutely horrendous. I can't try and describe it to you as easy as possible. It's horrible. The movement speed is absolute trash. The stray speed is absolute trash compared to the other two guns. And then it does have the lowest bullet velocity, which is obviously going to make it a little bit harder to hit your shots at the long range, which is where this gun is best. So if you need a mobile gun, definitely this is not the one. But if you're looking for a high accurate weapon and it does good damage at the long range, the PKM is the gun for you. But that's basically it for the positives and negatives of each weapon. Want to take a look at next is mobility category as far as your reload, your ADS speed, your stray speed, and your movement. Showcase the clips for you guys on how I found this information out, because as I said, the Stoner doesn't have any information anywhere unless you test it for yourself, which as you guys should know, I did do that for you guys to give you guys the best info possible. So let's jump into that. So what we're going to take a look at is the movement speed in order to see which gun actually moves faster. As I said, with that PKM class setup, it's built to counter the movement speed to make it significantly worse. The Bruen Mk9 Class is built to significantly improvement, and with that Stoner, a lot of people don't really know where it fits. So what I thought I'd go through and do a test to kind of showcase this to you guys to see how much faster that movement speed of the Bruen is than the other two weapons. You guys can see on the screen all three guns lined up, exact same spot, racing to the front of the car. So basically just going to go through and play scene by scene. You guys will basically see if I skip one frame forward, you guys can see they all start to take off at the exact same time. Basically, we're just going to get as far in as we physically can. The one thing you guys will notice is the PKM is significantly worse than that of the Bruen and the Stoner. Sorry, it's really hard to keep this playing in normal motion. But basically, you guys will be able to see in just a second here. Basically, what I wanted to time it to was where on the screen here, you guys see the X pops up. This basically means the race is done. Right now, you guys can see how much farther the PKM is behind. This is a huge factor, in my opinion, where if they're kind of similar in speed, but when you have a huge difference, if you have a PKM only, you're trying to make it out of the zone or trying to rotate with the gas coming behind you, you're definitely going to feel that slowness and you definitely will notice it. So basically, long story short, I'll showcase the stats on the screen for you guys to see. Basically, if the Bruen was 100% movement, the Stoner would be 97.5%. So it was like 2.5% slower movement. The PKM was about 8% slower. So definitely something you 100% will notice. You guys see, like I said, the Stoner to Bruen is not that big a difference. But when you factor in comparing it to the PKM, that is where you will significantly notice the overall difference in that movement speed. And this is a huge factor because when we go through and we take a look at the strafe speed, the PKM once again gets smoked. Like I said, this Bruen class is built for speed, but the PKM is a significant loss. So you guys will basically see here, this is for the ADS strafe speed. You guys can see once again, perfectly lined up. Like I said, I've gone through and pretty much try to cover as much data for you guys as I can. I'm pretty nerdy when it comes down to it. I like a gun that has a pretty good mobility. I like to be able to move around fast to get a lot more kills because my gun moves fast. I try to build my class setups as best as I can, at least amount of negatives. And with this PKM class setup, I've tried the Snatcher, I've tried the Commando. No matter what you add, it's still going to tank it here. But basically, long story short, let's try and get to the end here. I timed them from the far left to the far right of the wall. And if I can get the Bruen to get there to the end, and there it is, boom. The Bruen is officially at the end. And if you guys actually look on the screen, you guys can see how much longer it takes for the PKM and the Stoner to get there. It's extremely significant. I'll showcase once again the numbers on the screen. If the Bruen Mk9 is 100%, the Stoner is 10% slower, and the PKM was 25% slower in the stray speed, which with LMGs is not a big factor. But the reason I wanted to include this in the video is when you stack that movement speed being 8% slower, that stray speed 25% slower, this gun sucks in the mobility category. Not saying that all those on their own will make the gun worse, but when you combine them all together, the open bolt delay with the slow streak, with the slow movement speed. I didn't realize how bad the PKM was. I made a couple of videos that got pretty good views talking about how good this gun was, and I'm surprised it really is this bad. Hopefully with the new season update, hopefully they do something to make the core weapons better so I can actually start slapping kids with this stoner class setup. But that's basically it for the straight speed, movement speed. The next thing we're taking a look at is the reload times, and then obviously the ADS speed to showcase to you guys in real time what is the actual biggest difference in these two class setups. All right, so we're going to take a quick in-depth look at is the ADS speed of the three LMGs, obviously with the stoner. Majority of the Cold War attachments don't do shit, excuse my language, as far as improving your ADS at all, which is where I had to find out and test where the actual ADS speed was. With the PKM and the Bruen, they both have the tac laser, which significantly helps your ADS. It actually helps us in this testing to see when the guns actually fill the ADS. So you guys will see if you go 1 frame difference, they're obviously exactly lined up. We're just going to fast forward and keep this as simple as possible. Basically, when the tac laser pops up, that's when the guns fill the ADS, which you guys will see is 22 frames here with the PKM. Then we have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5.5 frames or so for that Bruen, which I'm testing 120 FPS on console. Would be like 3 frames. This is about 50 milliseconds slower, and then if it's all personal opinion, about 3 more frames, about 3 to 4 more frames to get the stoner fully ADS. So with the PKM, mind, I'm just gonna put the numbers for 60 FPS. The PKM is about 417 milliseconds. Bruen Mk9 is about 50 milliseconds slower at 467. And then a little bit slower than that is the stoner at 500 milliseconds. So this is where the PKM definitely competes. One thing I'd really like to see in the new update is them finally adjusting the wraps of the rear grips for Cold War weapons so you can actually get an improved ADS. 500 milliseconds is horrendous when you factor in ARs are between like 300 to 400, SMGs are 200. 500 milliseconds for a close range LMG is definitely going to be a big negative. But basically breaking it down for you guys, the next thing we're going to look at is the reload speed to showcase which one is the best. So what I'm going to be showing on the screen is the reload speed while I'm talking so you guys can basically see it. In order to determine what's actually the fastest reloading weapon, you have to take a look at how fast they reload and how much ammo they're reloading, because each gun has a different set of ammo and a different reload time. So when you basically factor those in to give you guys the numerical numbers to show which is the fastest reloading, the Bruen is obviously the fastest, a little over 2 seconds for only 60 ammo. In order to determine what is actually the fastest, you have to determine how much ammo it reloads per second, because like I said, every gun is different. So with the Bruen Mk9, we're reloading about 28 bullets a second, which is the fastest. When you factor that stoner in, it's about 25 bullets per second, which is about 10% slower. With 10%, it's not that big a difference, but definitely still excellent. The reason we're using the fast mag on the stoner is because it significantly lowers that reload time, which helps a lot. The PKM is only 11 bullets per second, which is 60% slower than the Bruen Mk9. Obviously, 50% slower than the stoner, which is a huge negative. PKM reload is absolutely atrocious. The straight speed is atrocious. The mobility is atrocious. So when I take a look and factor everything in, the PKM has a couple good positives, has decent range, has decent accuracy, but the time to kill with open bolt delay and the mobility is horrendous. So I personally think right now, I still think that Bruen might be king, but with that stoner time to kill in that close range being the fastest, the stoner right now to me is the #1 LMG. It has the fastest time to kill and it has an excellent accuracy. The Bruen Mk9 is a very, very close second. I'd like to see some kind of updates, weapon changes in the new update coming out very, very soon. Hopefully some of this stuff gets changed. But like I said, if you guys did enjoy the video, please make sure you guys leave a like, subscribe to the channel down below. 97% of you guys are not subscribed. If you guys do enjoy the content, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button down below. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you.